Looking forward to this week's game against a good Washington State team, a team that I really the last 2 weeks has kind of come into their own. Really played well. Obviously on the road, getting a big win at Utah last week, showed a lot of grit by coming back down 21 and rallied to win the game. And then obviously they played well against Oregon. I know they were disappointed they didn't find a way to win the game, but they played a good football game against a good football team. And so to me, you look at the last 2 weeks, this is this is a good football team and a team that can probably play with and beat anybody. And so it'll be a big challenge for us going on the road. I'm playing a night conference game for the second time in a row. Will be challenging for us, but I think our guys are excited, looking forward to getting back out there and, excited to compete. I think that's one of the things I really like about this team is that they like to play, they like to compete. They like the challenge of playing on the road. And, I think everybody's excited, about getting up there and playing football.
Sonny, they seem to be a better defensive team certainly the last 2 weeks than we had any reason to think, especially the front seven. If you could talk about that group a little bit, and also just what's going on with your defense. Do you think after maybe 2.5 games you played quite well, and then the past game and a half where it seems to come apart a little bit?
Yeah. I think defensively they are the strength of their defense without a doubt. It's their front four for sure. I mean it's a big group. It's a physical group. They're going to show you different looks. I mean they're kind of an odd front team, but play a lot of even front principles, and they'll show you different things. Have some pass rushers that can come off the edge and create some problems. They blitz a lot. They move a lot with their line. They sacked Mariota, I believe, 7 times in that game against Oregon, and I don't know that anybody's done that to him ever. And so they showed that they're physical, they're big. They get up the field well. I mean they push the pass protection well. And then they've got enough speed coming off the edge where they can create a lot of problems for you. So as I said, I think that's their strength, and they've got depth. I mean, they'll play, eight different guys in there, and they're all good players. And so that'll be a challenge for us. We're going to have to do a good job run blocking and pass protecting in order to give ourselves a chance to move the football and score some points. And then question defensively about us. I don't know what to make of it, quite frankly. We played really good against a very explosive Arizona team for 3 quarters, and then when their back was against the wall, they threw the ball 73 times in that game. I think our defense has played 140 passes almost the last 2 weeks, and so when people are throwing it on average 70 times a game against you, you're going to give up some plays. I mean, I don't care who you are. We've got to play better. We've got to play smarter in a lot of ways. I think, we wanted to make Colorado drive it consistently against us and not give up big plays, and we did that most of the game. We gave up the long touchdown there with about 22 seconds left. That was, not very good play for us. But, but that was kind of our philosophy going in was, hey, look, let's don't give up big plays and let's make them drive it, and you got to give Colorado credit. That's kind of what they did. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to be challenged again this week defensively. By Washington State. Obviously, they throw the ball probably as well as anybody in the country, and they're going to throw it a bunch. And so we just got to keep getting better, keep improving, and keep developing those players and put them in good situations as coaches and build some confidence and let them make plays. They're certainly capable of doing it. I know they can. They did it the first couple of ball games, and so we just got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, Sonny, a lot has been made about the defense, but offensively, we heard last year that, or it seems like the Tony Franklin offense in year 2 is kind of where they make the jump. Do you feel like the team has made that jump offensively? And is it less or more than kind of you had hoped?
That's kind of it's still early. It's 4 games into the season. what we try to do really is take a week-by-week approach and just say, hey, look, we're going to try to do what it takes to win a game this week. And, I don't think anybody in our program gets too hung up in statistics. I mean, we're not trying to lead, the league in anything other than winning. That's kind of what we want to do. And so for us, the numbers really don't mean as much as just, our guys, we've played 4 ball games this year, and we've had an opportunity to win all 4. We've had an opportunity to lose a couple as well, but our guys that's kind of what we're interested in. And so, we thought we would be better. We think we can still get better. We're certainly far from a finished product, offensively. But we've made some big plays at times, and we have some good players, and to their credit, they've played well. And so, it's going to be a challenge for us this week. I mean, this will be, when you look at the grand scheme of things, I mean, this will be in a lot of ways the best defense we played, just because the front is so good. So it'll be a challenge for us this weekend.
Sonny, last year you guys averaged about 10.5 yards a completion. This year, I believe the number is like 17 yards, a huge jump. How much of that is Jared playing better? How much of it's receivers blocking? Is it all of it? And did you expect that big leap?
We've probably made more big plays this year than maybe any of us anticipated. But like we talked about last year, when people ask a lot about third down offense or red zone offense or whatever, when you execute better, you have more catch and run opportunities. The ball's out center, the receiver is in a better place, he turns straight up field. All those things are learned skills, and you just don't roll the ball out and that just doesn't happen. I mean, that takes time to develop, and we're still developing that in our offense. And so, when a guy runs a really good route and the ball's out on time in a spot where he can catch it on the run, then some big plays take care of themselves. And so that's, in a lot of ways, that's what's happened to us this year. And that's a gradual progression, from year 1 to year 2.
Is that, as much as anything, the thing you're most pleased with in your offense, that you've had so many more big plays?
Oh, I mean, I think it's, for me, I've always been a big believer in just being able to execute. And I think that, when people have made us execute, we've been able to do that, for the most part, well enough. When we played Northwestern, who's a good defensive football team, they really, they really forced you to execute. And I think we had a 16-play drive, and and we had to string together some more drives that were not necessarily made of big plays, just of moving the football 5, 6, 8, 10 yards at a time. And so you hope that you become an offense that can take what the defense gives you. And if they're going to play off, then you hope you can execute well enough to drive it down the field. And if they're going to challenge you and play man coverage like Colorado did, then you hope that you're going to be able to make enough big plays.
Sonny, you've talked about needing to develop young players and how this is kind of part of the process. This is going to be your 3rd week going against a team that's probably going to run close to 100 plays or throw the ball 70-something times. I mean, how big of a challenge is it knowing that you've been trying to develop and here you go again? Yeah,
we just got to keep working. I mean, the guys, I think that you play football because you like to play. And so, our defensive guys ought to be happy. They've played a lot.
Jake Kearney was a guy that you guys kind of added late in the recruiting cycle last year. Can you kind of assess, what you guys thought of him coming in and where he's at now, and the big interception he made last week? It seems like he's kind of paying off. Yeah, he's exactly what we thought he was going to be. I mean, he's a smart kid who was very well coached. I think that's the thing that a lot of times you recruit a junior college player and you say, well, it's going to take this guy a year to learn the system and all that. Well, Jake was very well coached at College of San Mateo, and I think that made his transition maybe a little bit faster. And he's just that kind of kid. I mean, he's a detailed kid, smart kid, and someone who we thought was exactly what we needed. Had some length, had some athleticism, but at the same time had maturity, and could come in and give us some depth. And he's really become a good player. But in a lot of ways, I mean, it's funny because sometimes you recruit players and
they're a little different when you get them on campus than you thought they were, and he's really honestly exactly what we thought he was. I mean, he's been exactly what we thought we were getting.
Sonny, how concerned are you about the penalties? I think you're 5th worst in the country.
Yeah, we got to get.
What's going on there?
We got to get better at the penalties, and I don't know what. Same thing. I mean, there's always a little bit of a correlation between number of plays and penalties. It just makes sense from that perspective. And I don't know where we are in terms of total number of plays that we've played in games. I would think we would have to be close to the top. And so, there is definitely a correlation between playing more plays and having more penalties. But at the same time, that's something we've got to get cleaned up. We've got to be a team that's better in the penalty department.
Is there a theme there?
Not really. I mean, it's kind of runs across the board. I mean, it's not a lot of, it's not a lot of pre-snap penalties. It's not a bunch of offsides. It's not a bunch of illegal procedures. It's not illegal formation. It's not any of that kind of stuff as much as it is. I think we had 4 personal fouls Saturday that were, we're not hitting guys late. It was a late hit on a quarterback that was pretty close. It was a late hit out of bounds that was pretty close. It was a piling on that was, pretty close. And you want your guys to play aggressive and play physical, and so there's always a fine line there. I haven't seen a bunch of egregious penalties, and it's something that we've addressed, but I don't think it's something that is paramount in us. Improving. I mean, I think we got to cut the penalties down. I mean, anytime you can do that, you become a better football team without a doubt. But at the same time, you don't want to lose that aggressive edge and play afraid to make a mistake.
So you sound like you think that it doesn't require rethinking everything.
No, I don't think so. I think we just got to, got to coach them up probably a little bit better. Just on what exactly they can do. And I've asked for some clarification from the league office on some things, and just to make sure that I understand it, so I can make sure our coaches understand it and make sure our players understand it.
Do you think it grabs the attention of your players more, knowing you're playing a team that's maybe on the extreme side of things with the way they pass the ball on the offense? And
yeah, you just never know how games are going to play out. I mean, we kind of thought going into the Arizona game they would be on the extreme side of running the ball, and they ended up throwing it 73 times. And so every game is a bit of a surprise, and you never really know what you're going to get. I think our guys are excited to play against a good football team, and I think our defense is hungry to get back out there and have a chance to compete and improve. And I think the biggest thing is, as a team, we're just excited about having a chance to go, play and win another football game. And, I think our guys are starting to develop a little bit of a mentality where they enjoy playing on the road, which I think is important. I think you've got to become a good road team and enjoy playing on the road. And I think our guys are starting to like that. I've always enjoyed coaching on the road. To me, it's, I've always enjoyed that more than I enjoy home games. Just because it's a different atmosphere and a different set of challenges, and there's nothing more satisfying than beating somebody on their home field.
A second ago, you said every game is a surprise, but you don't expect to be surprised by what?
No, I don't think they're going to come out.
Right?
I don't think they're going to come out and run the triple option. No,
right. I mean, they're going to throw the ball 70 times, right?
I mean, yeah, but again, if you'd have said Arizona was going to throw it 70 times, everybody in the room would have laughed at you. Yeah. So you just don't know how it's going to go. But I would, there's no certainties in football. But this is close to as certain as it gets.
You talked 2 nights ago with us about Daniel Lasco's change, and he was not a particularly physical guy in the past for you, was he? And when and how did he come to the conclusion that he needed to be that guy?
Well, I think he tried to be last year. He got banged up, had some shoulder issues, and we saw signs of it last year. I think part of it's just, as we talked about a little bit on Sunday, is just figuring out who you are. That's part of becoming a good football player is doing a little bit of a self-assessment and saying, okay, look, here are my strengths. I'm going to really play on my strengths, and then I'm going to develop my weaknesses. And I think with Daniel, he just came to the conclusion that look, I'm a big, strong guy, and if I can run with my pads low and really finish runs, then I can be a load. And to his credit, I mean, he worked incredibly hard in the offseason on doing that. And, it's not something that happens easily. I mean, he's really learned how to run behind his pads and to finish runs. And he's playing probably as well as anybody right now. And I think, again, a big part of it's just been him, figuring out, okay, and getting bigger and stronger and staying healthy and all those kind of things as well.
You still see a lot of upside in him?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's a guy that's going to continue to get better and better.
The linebacker group coming into this season, you guys had Hardy coming off of an injury. You lost a few guys last year. Have they been a pleasant surprise to you, and how good is that group kind of in terms of your expectations?
Yeah, those guys have played well. I think we've gotten a little more out of Hardy maybe than we anticipated, just coming off of that. That's such a strange injury. You just never know how guys respond. Some guys, it takes 2 years to come back. Others come back pretty quickly. Most of the time it's, somewhere in between a year and 2 years, and he's bounced back pretty well. I think you got to give, our medical staff and Mike Velasquez and who worked with him, and as far as getting him back and getting him rehabbed, and Robbie and all those guys, Casey, just on and our coaching staff, I think's willingness to bring him along slowly, because had we loaded him too much early, I don't know that he would have been able to progress the way that he's progressed. And I think a lot of credit goes to Hardy for being smart about the way he's come back and he's performed well. Mike Barton's been a solid player. Jalen Jefferson's really improved over his performance last year, just been much more consistent. And, and Jalen's someone who's capable of being a really good player. And, it's good to see him play well. And then, as you said, getting Jake and getting him in the mix a little bit and has been good as well to give us some depth. And then the young guys that are coming on at that spot are going to be fun to watch. Devontae Downs is going to be a very exciting player. Hamilton's playing some for us right now. Played in some pretty key situations on Saturday, and he's going to be a good player and is another true freshman. And so I like the group. I like the depth. We're having to play a lot of those young guys. We're going to need them. And so, it's been pretty constant really from the beginning of two-a-days is, let's get these guys ready to play, because at some point, we're going to need them all this season. And that's how you develop depth.
We've talked some about Kenny Lawler. What is it about him that gives him the ability to catch some of those kind of make those circus catches? Or
he's got physically, he's got really big hands. That helps. His hands are huge. So from that standpoint, that makes it easier. Second thing is he's got really good body control. He can contort his body and do some things to allow him to do that. The third thing is he's gotten better at technique. He used to be a guy that just kind of tried to jump up and make plays all the time, and now he's starting to understand how important good technique is and making those catches. And then I think the fourth thing is just Jared having a trust in him and giving him opportunities to make those plays, and believing that he's going to battle for those balls and be in the right spot. And so, when you add all that together, you got a guy that can, make some pretty spectacular plays on the ball.
Yeah, Holiday had a huge game against you last year. Has he improved? Is he even better now? And can you kind of describe him as a quarterback?
Yeah, I think so. I think I think he's a lot like Mike's quarterbacks through the years. He's you can see he's just more and more comfortable. Every game he plays in, he gets a little bit better. Seeing things, making better decisions, getting the ball out on time, being accurate, moving in the pocket, anticipating throws, all those things that good quarterbacks do. The more he plays, the better he gets at that stuff. And that's the part of, quarterbacks maturing is just, and he's taking better care of the ball. And all those are things that good quarterbacks do. And so he's got a good arm. He's athletic enough to move around when he needs to. and he's kind of got all the characteristics that a good quarterback has, and very productive. And thing that I'm impressed with about him is just his toughness and tenacity. I think that's probably as impressive as anything else that he does.
Will you probably not know about McClure's status until Wednesday, Thursday?
Yeah, I think I'm hoping to know sooner, but probably be Thursday before we're for sure, on kind of what kind of role he's going to have this week. We're hoping to practice him a little bit today and kind of see how he responds.